I think there's been enough time for me to digest and let Dragon Ball Daima and all these Dragon Ball series settle in my brain for me to finally make this video. Yo, what up guys, it's your boy SonTJ. Today we're going to be ranking every Dragon Ball series, even including Super Dragon Ball Heroes, from worst to best. And yeah, man, this is based off my personal opinion. So if you disagree, let me know in the comment section down below. Where would you rank these series? And it's been a minute, but I'm back. And thank you for supporting me for as long as you have. If you're a new subscriber or old subscriber. But anyway, let's get to it. So, yo, you want to see a magic trick? Watch as I say the word, please like, subscribe, and share, that the subscribe button actually glows. So please follow through what I just said. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share. It helps me out. And hey, man, magic is real if you make it so. Thank you. The worst one, obviously, is Super Dragon Ball Heroes. It's a promotional anime. It's mostly for Super Dragon Ball Heroes, the game, even though the game is done now. And what can I say, man? It's weird because a decent amount of people thought that the animation in this series was better than Dragon Ball Super because they don't really understand the difference between animation and art style, or staying on model. And I'll say one thing about Super Dragon Ball Heroes, they stayed on model. Like Yamamuro's 2010s and up art design, which I kind of later grew out of. Like I like some aspects, but I'm more of a fan of his Prime or Shintani or different things like that, right? And for the most part, it doesn't really have a story. You have a few standout characters like Cumber. It's definitely like a lot of fan service with Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker. To hell, them having their own ultra ego of giving Vegeta like Super Saiyan Blue Berserker or something, right? And it was cool seeing like Vegeta Blue Kaioken and things like that. But it was just the writing was all over the place. It was like classic, like Vegeta got one shot in like every other fight. I'm glad they delivered like certain fan service moments like Super Saiyan Blue versus Super Saiyan 4. Even Xeno Goku fighting mainline Goku final fight. It just sucks that the way it ended, where it just kind of diverged into this like CGI Budokai 3 models they used because they couldn't use the animators because they was working on Daima. So yeah, Dragon Ball, Super Dragon Ball Heroes, I would give it like a 4. Like the biggest shouts out that you got to give is from like random great animations from like Sheeta and things like that, where you had like Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, was like, he did like a great Final Flash, and of course that one animation cut where Super Saiyan Blue Goku versus Hearts, like that's like some of Sheeta's best work that we didn't get to see, and we still haven't gotten Dragon Ball Super back. So those are the biggest highlights for me there. Next up is Dragon Ball Daima. Now Dragon Ball Daima, just like with Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, it had a lot of defense up front because people don't really like to call out BS immediately. They rather wait, and like they rather glaze and wait than disrespect it later. Like I kind of find my opinion pretty early. I might be a little bit emotional at the beginning, but I kind of have my overall opinion, right? Like I'm not like one of these people where like, oh, I like Sony's Spider-Man 4, or I mean Spider-Man on the PS4 or PS5, then like years later, actually I hate that thing. I'm not really that type of guy. I kind of find my opinion early. And Dragon Ball Daima, despite anything I want to say about it, I'm really thankful that Akira Toriyama was able to give us an extra story before he passed and things like that. And Dragon Ball Daima is the best looking Dragon Ball series of all time. Like it's consistently great, had a great scheduling, fantastic. But let's keep it a beam. No one cares about this whole mini Goku, mini Vegeta, all these mini stuff, right? I even had a talk to one of my friends, Dragon Lee, and he even talked about how like, yeah, he kind of understands that a lot of people don't like the kid stuff, right? And if you're a fan of it, cool. But I just never was, and it kind of shows that everyone, all they talk about and care about is like the last 2 episodes, which is when Goku and Vegeta turn back into adults, and you see Vegeta in Super Saiyan 3, you see Goku in this new version of Super Saiyan 4. But in terms of pacing, it was very slow, which you would think, oh, it's a good thing. But once we got to like the 3rd Demon Realm, all that adventuring stuff kind of went out the window. This series features the worst villain in Dragon Ball, like for it to be a main villain. I even find Hearts more interesting and more enticing than Goma. Hell, Degetsu is garbage. I like Arnesu, like she fine and everything, but that's about it. Like I don't really care about Majin Buu. Majin Buu had some appeal, but even then his fights were not that cool. I was way more interested in the Tamagamis, and once we got to Tamagami 2, Tamagami 1 didn't really do much. He kind of like got lambasted. Like he didn't really do much against Majin Buu. So And then, like, of course, you had the Kid Goku writing, which not my biggest tea. Like, again, I loved Goku versus Tamagami 3. I loved Vegeta versus Tamagami 2. And then I liked the fights between Goma, where he got the third demon eye. And then, like, it's weird. It's like the first episode I like when they're adults fighting. They had like a little bit of adventure stuff. Goku versus Tamagami 3, which is arguably the best fight outside when they become adults. Then Vegeta, even though I hate this terminology now, aura farming, because the internet loves to abuse stuff. And then we finally get the real versions, which is Vegeta turns Super Saiyan 3 and Goku. Like, I think this would have done a lot better if you just would have kept them adults or have some of them be kids, yada, yada, yada. I just think it didn't add nothing to the story. I really think it didn't. And it just feels strange to me to have all this world building, showing all these different connections, either to Dragon Ball Super or to Kira Toriyama's overall canon, because people are like debating. I think people are just going to be upset when they realize that this stuff is canon to Super anyway, and all of the inconsistencies, you just have to deal with it because Toriyama's going to figure out a way to make that stuff connect. Same thing happened in Superhero, where people was like, are you sure that Goku and Vegeta have Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego and stuff? When they do. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, like, it's weird getting all this world building and all this stuff for like the Demon Realm, and then seeing like the opposite of Xeno, just for them to kind of throw in Super Saiyan 4 with like no world building whatsoever. And then you had like the walking just the walking Deus Ex Machina, which is the Namekian. I can't recall his name right now. And then yeah, you just get Super Saiyan 4 and you just get told that either he was training for it and the Namekian helped him unlock it, or he had it before and he just needed that extra push, yada yada yada. And then you kind of speed run the fight with Goku versus Goma, where pretty much it's just a fight of Goku not doing anything but flexing, and same thing would happen with Vegeta, and for just Majin Buu to get a little gag. But all that foreshadowed with the fusions, yada yada. Just the storytelling in this is the worst. Like, it's not as bad as Super Dragon Ball Heroes because it doesn't really have a story, but yeah, just world building all for nothing. Great form with Super Saiyan 4. I actually grown to like the new Super Saiyan 4 design. Like, I think I almost like it almost as equally, but I think I still prefer GT Super Saiyan 4. But yeah, it's like no development whatsoever. It's just you know, it's there. Like, fantastic animation, but are you one of those Dragon Ball fans where you only care about great animation? If you are, then you might love this. Like, I used to crack jokes all the time that Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, and things like that are carried by great animation, but I was seeing people calling this series way better than Super and everything like that before even finished, because they just saw how cool Goku turned Super Saiyan 4. So, hey, maybe I'm right that if you just love great animation, you don't really care about storytelling, and you think Dragon Ball's all this is just good fights, you might think Dragon Ball Daima is the second best series in Dragon Ball, because I think some people even said that. But regardless, next up is Dragon Ball GT. Oh, actually, I'll give Dragon Ball Daima a 6 out of 10. I'm being more graceful because I used to give it a 5, but I'm going to give it like a 6. Now with Dragon Ball GT, I know the fan base is pretty passionate. They're very defensive, just like Boruto fans, things like that. If you say anything, they start becoming like, we was the biggest victim. We was victims since 2000. But Dragon Ball GT, I think I appreciated more after watching Dragon Ball Daima. Not to like slander it, but just to appreciate different aspects. Not to keep bringing up Dragon Lee, but he even brought up problems where, because usually a lot of problems with GT kind of comes from the fact that the dub kind of made liberties with its its script, or of course its pacing problems. Hell, like even some of the animation, Dragon Ball GT is one of the best looking Dragon Ball series. Some of it, has some little bit off moves here and there, but yeah, like I think Dragon Ball GT's biggest moments is of course the Baby Saga. It's the best arc. From character designs on the higher end, from like Super 17's character design, Omega Shenron's, of course, Super Saiyan 4 carries this entire series. I do not like how they kind of made Super Saiyan 4 the true Super Saiyan form, because they used the Toei version where like this first Super Saiyan was a Godu-Zaru type thing. So like I remember Dragon Lee kind of told me that. I never really thought about it in that way. And of course, I do not like Goku turning back into a kid. Like, my biggest thing is I like when a character is generally their age. I don't like it when they get reverted or get nerfed. I hate that stuff. I do not like that in storytelling, unless it serves a purpose. And it really did it, because Super Saiyan 4 is like this form that just kind of does everything for Goku. That I'm like, then what's the point of having him stay a kid? But yeah, like the biggest weakness in this series is that it relies too much on Goku. Like, it's cool that we got some Pan stuff, but Pan never turned Super Saiyan. Trunks gets kind of sidelined. Oob was important for one arc, then becomes weaker than Vegeta in the next arc. Hell, they even had like an arc that was like 3 episodes of Super 17, despite how cool he looks, not that much there. And then I think the coolest arc was definitely the evil Shenrons, right? Like the Shadow Dragons. But a lot of the Shadow Dragons just was not that important, or they was kind of taken as jokes until you get to Nova Ice and in Omega Shenron slash, I forgot his name when he's not Omega. I can't remember that right now. But I love it for just the Super Saiyan 4, Dragon Fist, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, even though people have rose-tinted glasses with the Big Bang Kamehameha. Like, you gotta go watch that. It's not as great as you remember. But yeah, I think if you watch it in sub, I think you get a lot better scripting and stuff, but it still has the problem where the first arc before we get to Baby is really bad. But Baby is great. Super 17 is a meme, and the Omega Shenron arc, it gets better near the end when you see Ice and Nova show up, and it gets better. But the ending was beautiful, though. I would say it has one of the better endings in Dragon Ball, seeing adult Goku fly away and stuff. So I'll give GT either a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. It's just 2 arcs are not that great, but then 2 arcs are pretty good. And I like them for that. And I definitely love Vegeta's character development in this arc. I mean, this series the most. I think it's really great there. So next up is Dragon Ball Super. I was debating to do a hot take and have Dragon Ball Original be under this, but I was like, nah, I don't think the beginning of Dragon Ball being aging not the greatest determines it to be weaker than Dragon Ball Super. So Dragon Ball Super, one of the most controversial yet beloved modern Dragon Ball series. I've loved Dragon Ball Super. It has a lot of flaws easily with the scheduling with the animation, where we saw it with Goku versus Beerus when like animation was looking stiff as hell, like and artwork was everywhere. And you had people like Shida from I can't remember these animators right now, but of course Takahashi coming in later on. Just a lot of people just trying their best to keep up with this very poor scheduling. But Dragon Ball Super, what can I say, man? We're mostly focused on the anime, but like I've loved the manga, the anime, but at different points. Because the manga, I did not like it until pretty much Goku Black. It didn't determine the power was pretty bad. And then after that, with Moro and up, I actually really enjoyed the manga. And with the anime, it's Universe 6 and up. I like to bring in Battle Guys, the Resurrection F, the movies, because it's tough seeing it, man. Like what happened with Resurrection F, where Goku was drawn so terribly when it was base Goku versus Golden Frieza. It was starting to melt when it was blue Goku versus Golden Frieza. And I know some people look back at some of the animation with Goku versus Hit and be thinking like, it's not the greatest, but I love the moments, man. Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, incredible. I still count Resurrection F with seeing Super Saiyan Blue for the first time. I thought that was really cool before everyone switched up on it. Battle God, Super Saiyan God. I still like Super Saiyan God, even though it's funny that people used to say, oh, it looks bad. It's just like Kaioken. And now it's like one of the most beloved forms ever. Like, Dragon Ball Super is one of those ones where people want to hate at first and then end up loving it later. Hell, I remember when Goku Black was first announced and people thought, oh, this is a bad idea. Then when Super Saiyan Rose came out, I was like, oh, it's just pink hair Super Saiyan. I hate it. And then Goku Black is one of the most fan favorite villains in Dragon Ball history. So yeah, and even with Jiren is called boring and yada yada yada. Like Jiren has found like new love. Like people actually really like Jiren nowadays. I'm not gonna say majority, but he's found a new little sub fan base. All I want is Dragon Ball Super to come back with consistent animation. We've seen what it can do with Dragon Ball Super Broly, Dragon Ball animation at its peak along with Daima, and hell, even when it got experimental with Dragon Ball Super Superhero, seeing Gohan get Gohan Beast and seeing his character development throughout the series, going from struggling to turn Super Saiyan Grade 1 to re-unlocking Ultimate, actually earning Ultimate. Granted, was it a long run? Not really, but they definitely earned it better than he did in the Buu Saga. And then him continuing that into Superhero, where he actually unleashes a form that is on par with Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego for the manga. So, by the way, to add more into why I like Dragon Ball Super, because I know people love to nitpick the hell out of anyone who says anything good about this series. I love Ultra Instinct. I love Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan God, despite some of the flaws, especially Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. I love that. But Ultra Instinct's like my favorite form ever since original Super Saiyan. From giving so many characters shine, from giving Piccolo an actual shine to catch up. He hasn't been relevant since the Cell Saga. For Vegeta to actually become a true rival to Goku again, because he was falling falling behind ever since the Buu saga, or really because he wasn't competing with Super Saiyan 3. Nowadays, they either like to have him compete with Super Saiyan 3 with Super Saiyan 2 or just give him Super Saiyan 3 randomly. Who knows? For Gohan to be relevant again, because again, like a lot of stuff since GT was just like, well, Vegeta gets like a random Super Saiyan 4 power up, but everyone else is like way behind Goku. From making so much stuff with Kyoto Toriyama's like own way of doing things with Bardock, Broly, and just great characters introduced like Hit, Goku Black, etc. Things I mentioned in the original recording. I love it, man. I'm like I said before in the original recording, just one Moro, one Ultra Ego, Granola, Gas, things like that. I just want all those anime, and hopefully we get it in the future, man. So yeah. Anyway, back to the original recording. Overall, I love Dragon Ball Super. I'll give Dragon Ball Super a 7 to 8 out of 10. But it has a lot of flaws at the beginning, which we've already kind of discussed with Dragon Ball Daima's pacing, where it starts off cool, then the middle part is slow, and then the ending part is fire, but that's like 3 episodes. And then we're at Dragon Ball GT, very slow beginning, fire first major arc, then kind of goofy middle, and then slow finale, but fire ending. And then with Dragon Ball Super, just a lot of production issues, but once you got to Universe 6 and up, I thought it was great. And by the time you get to Universe 6, it's only like 30 episodes or 20 episodes. It's not that long. Like the pacing's way faster in Dragon Ball Super. So yeah, I really just wanted to return. And if it returns with great animation with Moro, some storytelling differences in the Granola arc, I think it can rise to like a 9 for me. But I really do enjoy it. I know people are going to be upset about it, but I think for right now, I think it's like a 7.5 out of 10. Now, with Dragon Ball Original, and I know some people looked at me crazy when I said that it hasn't aged the best. It is mostly the Akira Toriyama jokes that I've just kind of grown out of. And when I try to rewatch it with people, it's like, why is there so much weird jokes when it comes to kids, women, and, my boy Master Roshi? And just certain arcs where it's like a little bit of pacing, a little bit slower. I'm not like Datsudoya where I'm like hating on it, not to throw dirt on Datsudoya, but he'd be saying on key moments. But yeah, man, Dragon Ball Original, man, like this is the only time that I like Goku being a kid, because we're actually seeing Goku grow up, and you're seeing like all this world building with Bulma, Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, seeing Piccolo and stuff. Like this is the only time I want to see Goku as a kid. I think Dragon Ball has that wonder, that Journey to the West style of storytelling. Master Roshi, despite all the stuff that I know now as an adult is not cool, I still love this series, man. Especially the finale of Dragon Ball, which, even though I know in the manga, this Dragon Ball Z is all called Dragon Ball. I get it, but in the anime, it's just called Dragon Ball. Like the last arc with Teen Goku fighting in the World Tournament is, to this day, some of the best fighting in Dragon Ball history that I always remember fondly. Especially Goku versus Piccolo Jr., which arguably is the best fight in the entire Dragon Ball franchise. And just, I love original Dragon Ball. Despite it aging poorly for me at the beginning, you can't beat Goku getting the flying Nimbus, learning Kamehameha, all the different gags and jokes later on that are a little bit in better taste, in my opinion. From just Goku getting married to Bulma and jokes with Yamcha, things like that, and just learning about Kami. Overall, love Dragon Ball, and I'll give it a strong 8.5 out of 10. Now, for the number one, which I think we all expected, is Dragon Ball Z. In my preference, Dragon Ball Kai. I know there's some weird, actually serious debates about these things. Let's keep it a buck. It's not that deep, okay? Like, if you prefer some of the original dub, that's fine. All right, I prefer Dragon Ball Z Kai because Sean Shimble is a lot more consistent. I own the Dragon boxes, the orange bricks and everything, where Sean wasn't always on his piece because he was learning by the time he got into the Namek arc, because they re-recorded the Saiyan arc. But the Namek, well, the Ginyu arc in particular, Sean wasn't Sean yet. Even he said it himself when I met him. So, but yeah, Dragon Ball Z is the best Dragon Ball series. Like, come on, from the amazing risky storytelling of killing off Goku for the first time in the beginning to his brother, for all the world building with the Saiyans, to introducing one of the best rivals in anime history with Vegeta, Piccolo's character development, Gohan's character development from being like a child with so much potential, then living up to it twice, from the fusions to the concept of Super Saiyan, to the iconic villains of like Vegeta, Frieza, Cell, Boo. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Kid Boo and all that stuff, I know a lot of people love that. From the great storytelling of the future timeline where future Trunks and future Gohan, how it even connects to Dragon Ball Super that I like as well, to some of the storytelling with Bardock and everything. Even though like I know there's different continuities with Dragon Ball Minus and Dragon Ball Super's telling in Dragon Ball Daima, because you even see Akira Toriyama's version of that. I still love a lot of the Bardock special. I know we're not counting movies, but like even that era with the original Dragon Ball Z 13 movies, from Cooler to Hirudegarn, just so much stuff in Dragon Ball Z that is just really hard to beat to this day. I love it, even though a lot of people have rose tinted glasses about the animation, because there's sometimes where you can just see that shit drop. If you watch Dragon Ball Z Kai, you actually can see them connect both. It is like, yeah, there's different animators work on this, but yeah, honestly, my nostalgia wants to give it like a 10 out of 10. But Dragon Ball Z, just in terms of its pacing and stuff and all the filler, it would lower it down to like an 8, really, if you really had to look at it. But with Dragon Ball Z Kai, despite some of the redraws I don't like, and especially with the green tint in the Buu saga, I would give Dragon Ball Z Kai like a 9 out of 10. But again, there's so much stuff you can do with Dragon Ball Z. You can either go to the Bruce Falconer score, to the Kikuchi score, to the Dragon Ball Z Kai score before they caught Kenji Yamamoto slipping and got his soundtracks removed. I actually really prefer that soundtrack, to be honest with you. And it's also funny too that people who are very like anal about like what they like in a soundtrack, especially with the Kikuchi fans, but they really love Kenji Yamamoto when he stole from Disturbed in a lot of like soundtracks that people love in Budokai games, but they hate in Dragon Ball Z movies. Like people hate the Stupefy and all these things, but he uses those soundtracks in the video games you love. Hilarious. So yeah, those are my rankings, man. Number 1, Dragon Ball Z. Number 2, original Dragon Ball. Number 3, Dragon Ball Super. Number 4, Dragon Ball GT. Number 5, Dragon Ball Daima. And number 6, Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think? Do you have any counterpoints, some of my criticisms, even though this is not a debate? Just let me know how you feel, man. More videos will be coming out soon. I can't promise when, but thank you for all the support and love, and let's hope we get to 1 million subscribers, man. I need y'all support, and I'll continue my best to keep working and trying my best. I just said multiple things multiple times. Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, SonTJ out. Peace. Love you all.